All right, today we're going to tackle a classic, and I mean classic IT headache. How do you get your trusty on-premise billing system to talk to a modern cloud platform like Oracle Fusion? In this hybrid world we all live in, just getting those two systems to communicate without someone constantly having to fix things, well, it's a huge challenge. So let's explore a much smarter way to automate the whole thing. I mean, really think about it for a second. How many hours are just gone? Wasted on moving data from one screen to another, fixing typos, and trying to play detective to trace a single transaction. That manual work, it's not just slow. It's very often the single biggest point of failure in a financial process. So what if we could just design that weakness right out of the system? And that brings us to what I like to call the hybrid integration headache. You know that feeling, right? You've got this new, shiny, powerful cloud platform, but it feels like it's constantly being held back by these brittle, manual connections to your central legacy systems. You were promised the best of both worlds, but in reality, they just aren't playing nicely together. Does this list look a little too familiar? Yeah, I thought so. Data accuracy just tanks because of simple human error. There's no clear, easy way to see an invoice's journey from beginning to end. Your support teams are basically full-time firefighters. And oh boy, when the auditors come knocking, trying to piece together the evidence is a total nightmare. These aren't just little tech problems, you guys. These are real, serious business risks. So here's our game plan. We've just talked about the headache, so we all know the pain. Next, we're going to walk through a really slick three-layered solution. We'll follow a single invoice on its automated trip. We'll uncover the secret sauce in what we call the smart staging layer. And finally, we'll see how this whole system is designed from the ground up to make auditors happy. Okay, let's get into the good stuff, the solution. The whole goal here is to move away from that tangled mess of connections, that spaghetti junction of integrations, and bring in a clean, structured, and honestly logical architecture. We're talking about going from pure chaos to absolute clarity. And here it is, the complete blueprint. Now I know, at first glance this looks like a lot is going on, but stick with me because we're about to break it down. The real beauty of this whole design is how it deliberately separates the different jobs, which is exactly what makes it so robust and, believe it or not, easy to manage. At its heart, this entire workflow is basically a simple three-layer cake. First up, you have the ingestion layer. Its one and only job, is to reliably grab files from the source SFTP server and get them into the cloud. Simple. Next, the processing layer takes the baton. This is where all the business logic lives, the validation, the data transformation, all that thinking. And finally, the posting layer talks to the end system, in this case Oracle Fusion, to create the actual invoice. That separation, that is the absolute key to making the whole thing work without falling over. All right, now let's make this feel real. We're going to become the data for a minute. Let's follow a single invoice as it travels through this automated pipeline, right from the moment it's born on-premise to the second it's safely posted in the cloud. So the journey kicks off when the on-prem system drops two files, a CSV with all the juicy data and a PDF attachment onto an SFTP server. Then a scheduled job from Oracle Integration Cloud, or OIC, swoops in, picks them up, and moves them to a staging area in OCI Object Storage. Another process wakes up, validates the files, and this is a super important step we'll come back to. It logs the attempt in an audit table before it does anything else. Then it creates the invoice in Fusion. Once it gets the green light that everything's good, the original files are neatly moved to an archive. See? No guesswork, just a clean, controlled flow. So, we've seen what the solution does. Now let's get into the why. Why is this so much better? Well, the real magic, the secret sauce of this whole thing is in that middle step, using OCI Object Storage not just as a file dumping ground, but as a truly intelligent staging layer. Let's just look at the contrast here, side by side. On the left, you've got the old way, trying to process stuff directly from the SFTP server. If that server has a tiny hiccup, your entire financial process just grinds to a halt. It's so brittle. But on the right, by putting that OCI staging layer in the middle, we decouple the systems. The file pickup can happen completely independently of the invoice processing, and that gives us resilience. It lets us retry jobs that fail, and most importantly, it gives us intelligent control. And this quote just fits the nail on the head. Instead of just blindly reacting every time a new file shows up, OIC gets to be a smart traffic controller. It can peek into the staging area, see all the work that's waiting, and make smart decisions about what to process and when to process it. This shift from being reactive to proactive, well, it's a complete game changer for automation. Now, here's the crucial part. This staging area creates these super clear state boundaries. It's so simple. If a file is sitting in the inbound bucket, that's pending work. If it's moved to the archive bucket, the work is done. And if a file is just left behind in that inbound bucket after a run, well, that's an exception that a human needs to look at. For a support team, this is pure gold. There is zero guessing. The location of the file tells you its exact status in the process. And all of this clarity, all of this control, it naturally leads us to our final and maybe the most critical business benefit, a system that is inherently resilient and built for the tough job of financial auditing. Ah, yes, this is the question everyone asks, and honestly, for good reason. Because in any automated process, let's be real, failures are gonna happen. The quality of a solution isn't about pretending failures don't exist, it's about how gracefully and transparently it handles them when they do. And the answer is this beautiful central audit table. This thing is the single source of truth for every single transaction that even tries to go through the system. A support analyst can look at any invoice and immediately see what happened. Was it successful? Great, here's the Fusion transaction ID to prove it. Did it fail? Okay, here's the exact error message in plain English. They don't have to be an integration expert or dig through complicated technical logs. The info they need is right there. So let's just recap these key resilience features because they're so important. Every single failure gets captured. The system is smart enough to know the difference between a data problem, like a bad customer number, and a technical glitch. Invoices can be reprocessed super easily, right from the staging area. And maybe best of all, the finance and support teams are empowered. They can track the status all on their own. So what's the bottom line? The business outcome of this intelligent design is simple, but it is powerful. A massive reduction in support tickets and manual firefighting, and a huge improvement in actually meeting your service level agreements. This is automation that actually truly makes life easier. So, as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. Think about your own world, your own company. What is the single biggest bottleneck you have? Where's all the friction in your financial integrations? And is it possible that a decoupled, intelligent staging layer just like this could be the key to unlocking a much more resilient and efficient process for you too? Something to think about.